So I want to share with you a Nekuda, an idea from a Farbrengen that the Rabbi gave in Tavshin Chav Ches 1968. The Farbrengen actually is connected with the end of the celebration of the previous Rebbe's Bar Mitzvah. Previous Rebbe's Bar Mitzvah was in the 12th of Tmuz, on his birthday. But the Rebbe said that the festivities continued for a week. And because the year of his birthday, like this year, the 17th of Tammuz was on a Shabbos, so the celebration was continued one day later to the 19th of Tammuz. So at that Farbrengen, they've actually invited 3 Hasidim to come there. I think Rabbi Kuhn was invited, and Moshe Feller was invited. It's interesting. Rabbi Chagroner Basham was invited. And Deborah spoke to them privately right after the Farbrengen. There was something going on in upstairs in Shemayim that Deborah wanted them specifically to do in the context of this Farbrengen. But more interestingly, what was happening on earth. Rabbi Moshe Feller that year didn't come to the Rebbe's Farbrengen on the 12th of Tammuz, although he really wanted to, because he was invited to speak at a camp. I think it was a conservative camp or forum camp, I'm not sure. And because he wanted to go to the camp he didn't want to, but he felt a sense of mission to go to this camp, so he wasn't able to go to Rebbe's Farbrengen. So Rebbe said that's why that's the reason why he's making this Farbrengen, in order to compensate for the fact that he couldn't make it to the one before. That's what Rebbe said. So one of the ideas that Rebbe spoke about this Farbrengen is the concept that the Rambam mentions at the end of the entire Rambam, how Mashiach will come. It says the world will be full of knowledge of Hashem, like water covers the ocean bed. That's the language of the Rambam. The world will be full of the knowledge of Hashem, like water covers the ocean bed. So this revelation, Mashiach comes, has something to do with us before Mashiach comes, as we prepare for the coming of Mashiach. And so we have to know a little bit more about what this revelation means after Mashiach comes, to know what this has to do with us today. I saw a very interesting thing in Polish Chassidus from Tver Shleimer Rav Domsk. He says that every day of your life, it says in the Gemara, you should look at your life as if it says in Gemara, you should look at every day of your life as if it's the last day of your life, and that this might be the last chance you can do anything. So he says what that really means is, imagine if you went to Gan Eden, imagine if you passed away, and imagine you come to the heavenly courts, and imagine what'd you do with your life, and you're like, can I have one more chance? Can I come back to the world just for one more day? And they give you a chance. So you said that's the way you should look at every day of your life, as if you were returning from heaven. So Hasidim don't like talking about death, because we're about to enter the time of Mashiach. But imagine after Mashiach comes, the previous Rebbe says we're going to regret the fact that we didn't do so many good things we could have done today. So imagine coming back from the time of coming Mashiach and say, can I just go back to Gauls for a day? Imagine getting that chance. So that's where we are right now. Mashiach's going to come, and what did we do before Mashiach came to make it happen? So the world will be full of the knowledge of Hashem, like the water covers the ocean bed. What does that mean? So the word world, or aretz, the land, is connected to faith. In Kabbalah, earth, which is something we step on, lower than our bodies, represents the first step of serving Hashem. The first step of serving Hashem is our faith in Hashem. The earth being full of the knowledge of Hashem means that our faith will be something that we'll understand. In other words, instead of having to rely on faith for the things that we have to rely on today, Mashiach will come. Those things that require us to believe, Mashiach comes, there'll be things that are so obvious to us that make sense to us. There won't be things you need to believe in. They'll be part of us. They'll be part of who we are, because we'll understand all those things that we believe in today to be true. Mashiach comes, they'll understand them. And how will we understand them? says the Torah, the earth will be full of knowledge of Hashem. And what way will we be full of knowledge of Hashem? Like water covering the ocean bed. When water covers the ocean bed, it transforms it. The ocean bed is earth, and the ocean bed is a place you could walk on. But the idea of the earth being full of water changes the status of the earth, and now the earth is the ocean bed. And not only is it the ocean bed, but you can't even see the earth. All you see is the ocean. So the revelation of godliness that will happen, Mashiach will come, will fill our minds, will understand the truth of Hashem, but in a way that will transform us. There'll be a transformation, not just in us, but as the Rambam says that there will be, the Torah says that no animals will hurt each other, no animals will prey on each other, and the revelation will be in a way that it changes, it transforms all negatives inside us to good, so that although we'll still exist and we'll still have a sense of ourselves, but just like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that when you understand Torah, the Alter Rebbe writes that this is a wondrous unity and you become one with the Torah that you're learning, so too our knowledge of Hashem will become who we are. Our awareness of Hashem will become something that we identify as our own identity, meaning that it's not about we'll be disintegrated in Hashem's truth, but we'll identify with being one with Hashem. Mashiach comes. So that's what our natural sense of self will be. Our natural sense of self will be our emunah, our faith in Hashem, Hashem's truth. There's nothing besides Him. That'll be our first normal reality. Our faith will be in higher things. Our things that we need faith for today, Mashiach comes to understand, and our power of faith will be to relate to godly concepts which are beyond the understanding that we'll experience when Mashiach will come. The Rambam says that Mashiach will come, will understand the knowledge of it, will understand Hashem as much as man can, which means there's still a limit how much we can get, even after Mashiach comes, as much as a human being can get. But our faith will be in those things that a man cannot understand, things that a person could understand at that time. Hashem will open our minds and open our hearts to experience. We'll know them, we'll experience them, we'll feel them. And our faith will be in a higher things. But our knowledge of Hashem will permeate us in a way that, like water covers the ocean bed, that this will become our persona. So there's a similar halachic distinction that about a few concepts that are related to this idea. You have transformation, but the thing itself stays. There's an argument between Reb Shimon and Yehuda. This is a hallmark in Chassidus that everything that's true on a deeper spiritual level can find a parallel in the revealed parts of Torah, because it's one Torah. It's not that there's some other esoteric part of Torah called Chassidus, and it's the revealed part of Torah. Whatever is true in Chassidus is reflected in the revealed parts of Torah, because the Torah is a soul and body. So whatever is true in the soul finds expression in the body, as Chaim Peretz can tell you, right? Okay. Anyway, so there's an argument about how Hashem will remove all animals, all beasts that prey on other animals. It says in the Torah, all of these animals will be removed. How will they be removed? According to Rabbi Yehuda, they'll be removed completely. They won't exist anymore. But according to Rabbi Shimon, they'll exist. They just won't be predators anymore. The Rogatchover Gaon explains that the argument in Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda, whether or not Hashem will destroy wild animals or just make them tame, the argument is connected to another argument they have about chametz. How are you meant to remove chametz before Pesach? According to Rabbi Yehuda, the only way you can remove chametz is by burning the chametz. You have to completely destroy the chametz until the chametz turns into ashes. That's the only way to get rid of chametz. According to Rabbi Shimon, you don't have to burn the chametz. Just make it stop acting like chametz. You can rip it up in pieces and throw it in the wind. And now it's not chametz. Before this was a piece of bread. Now it's just something else. It's a piece of crumbs which were in the wind. It's not chametz. So Rabbi Shimon says that the quality of the chametz is what makes it chametz, And when the Torah says to destroy the chametz, it means to destroy the quality, not the quantity. Not the chametz should not exist. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Destruction of chametz means destroying the quantity as well. It cannot. There can't be crumbs there either. The only way to get rid of chametz is by burning it. However, Rabbi Shimon says that you're allowed to just break it up in pieces and throw it in the wind. Destroy the quality of it. Make it not appear like chametz. So in a similar way, they argue about the animals being tame when Mashiach will come. According to Rabbi Shimon, same animals, they could exist, just they'll be tame. According to Rabbi Yehuda, they have to be removed from the world. So this is also connected to what we're discussing about the world being full of the knowledge of Hashem, like water covers the ocean bed. In the ocean, there are things there. There are all kinds of creatures there. In fact, the Gemara says that whatever is in dry land is in the ocean. There's something similar. But they're covered. So when you look at the ocean, you don't see the various creatures there. All you see is the water that covers them. So what this means for us on a personal level is like this. The first step of serving Hashem is of course, our emunah, our faith in Hashem. But afterwards, there has to be the idea of deya, of knowledge of Hashem. As the Torah says, know the God of your father and serve him with a complete heart. You have to be full with your knowledge of Hashem. Chassidus, in the language of Chassidus, the first step of serving Hashem is the lower level of unity, and the beginning of the lower level of unity is your faith in Hashem. But then you have to reach the higher level, Bittul Hayesh, in Yichudei Allah, the higher levels of appreciation of God's unity. This is also connected to the previous Rebbe's bar mitzvah, the idea of putting on tefillin, that you put on tefillin on your left hand, on your weaker hand, which reflects the first step of serving Hashem. And then you reach a higher level, you put on the head tefillin, which Chassidus connects to Yaakov and Yosef. Yaakov is associated with the head tefillin, and Yosef is associated with the arm and the hand tefillin. Yaakov is about drawing godliness down from Atzilus, and Yosef is about drawing godliness into the lower worlds. The revelation of Hashem should be something that touches us here in this world. So the bottom line is that in our lives today, before Mashiach comes, Alter Rebbe says the coming Mashiach depends on what we do in the exile. That we're supposed to bring, in the language of the Rebbe's father, based on the words of the Haggadah, it says in the Haggadah, all the days of your life, the words of the Torah, all days of your life teach us that when Mashiach comes, you have to also remember the Exodus of Egypt. The Torah says, remember the Exodus of Egypt all the days of your life. So the words all, the extra all, means that even after Mashiach comes, you also have to remember how you left Egypt. The Rebbe's father says this literal translation of those words means that in all days of your life, you have to bring in the days of Mashiach. You have to bring from the future into the present. You have to live now with the taste of the future and bring it into today. So the coming Mashiach has different stages until the main revelation and main reward, Mashiach will come, the revelation of the Moed, of the luminary, the source of all light. And this is all achieved through us in the time of Galus. And this will transform the time of mourning now to a time of joy. The Torah titles this time period we're in as Bein HaMetzarim. Bein HaMetzarim means between the straits. And a common way of translating this is that the Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av we're now in a difficult place between these two straits, in this narrow place, between two calamities. But Chassidus says, Hisigua Bein HaMetzarim. The little translation of the verse is that all of our enemies caught us and attacked us and captured us in this time, in this narrow, difficult space. But the word Hisigua also means understanding godliness. So Chassidus says that specifically during the time of Galus and the hardship of Galus, that he is able to appreciate and connect to the essence of Hashem. Hisigua, how do you catch the Eibusha, so to speak? Like Baal Shem Tov says that specifically in the time of Galus, you're able to reach a deeper connection to Hashem. So Hisigua, in the language of the pasuk, in a very difficult place I was in, out of great distress, I called out to Hashem, and with abounding relief, Hashem answered me. So Chassidus says the word abounding relief, merchav, also is connected to Mercha means something which is broad, something which is big, which means the infinite light of Hashem. So this should be drawn, Rebbe concludes, this should be drawn down in our world, lower than 10 tefachim, lower than a foot, that every single Jew and all the Jewish people should be in a status of comfort, in the simple sense, in all explanations of comfort, and learn Torah and do mitzvahs with comfort, and we should come to the true Ula, speedily mamish, through Mashiach Zaken. I just want to tell you one more word and let you guys go. Today's Rapinya's yard site. I was by Rapinya's yard site for Brenga last night. Unbelievable thing that someone shared. He said that that Rapinya at the end of his life he couldn't speak, and so he went to Rapinya's room in the hospital with a friend of his, and he was someone who went to Rapinya all the time for Shabbos meals and stuff. And so he wanted to show his friend who Rapinya is, but Rapinya couldn't speak. So he probably shouldn't have done this, but he said to Rapinya, "Tell me of art." Rapinya couldn't talk. How could he tell him of art? So the way they communicated with Rapinya was, you would say the Aleph Beis, and Rapinya would signal to stop when he got the letter he wanted. So the guy would start saying Aleph Beis Gimel Daled, gets up to Mem, and it took him 5 minutes, and Rapinya said finally 4 words. Oh, the 4 words: Medarv zich übergeben. You have to devote yourself. That was the last. I think it's probably the last word we have from Rapinya. Medarv zich übergeben. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life. Doesn't matter what the task is at hand. Task at hand is something the Eibusha gave you. So what we're learning about over here, the Rebbe is saying that before the coming of Mashiach, we have to prepare by making the knowledge of Hashem something which is real to us. Yeah, it's a concept. But this is the task at hand, and we have to devote ourselves to make it happen. L'chaim, l'chaim. Have a great day. Kol tuv.